Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Mark, from Powersonic and Apprentice 121. Today we're going to have a little look at some of the gear that has been sent into Apprentice 121 and been paid for itself by the community of Apprentice 121, and some of that involves money provided by me. Just for full disclosure at the start of this, some of the products I'm going to show you have been sent in for free, so I don't know how all that sits in terms of paid promotion and sponsorship, partnership. So I've popped the little toggle on this video just for full disclosure around all of that. I'm not trying to pretend this is something other than anything that it actually is. So yeah, bits and pieces, and I'll mention exactly when I show them which of those have been donated and by whom. Start with this little pile, because this is some of the stuff that has been purchased and donated by TIS. So we have the Knipex Ergo Strip, and I've shown these lots on my channel already before. This was provided free of charge by TIS. To pass out to an apprentice. They sent 3 of them, I think. Some of them have already been given out already, so this is the last one left, and I'm going to pop that into a little care package today that's going to be in the hands of an apprentice, hopefully by the morning. And yeah, these are fantastic, so thank you very much TIS for providing us with that. I'm sure everybody's seen these out and about on social media as it is. They're a product that's been circulating for some time, and they are absolutely incredible for stripping your flexes, your coaxes, even your inner cores of cables, multi-strand and solid strand. Absolutely brilliant. We use these ourselves in the day job, typically with EV jobs, because they're fantastic for stripping the outer sheath on smaller steel wire armoured cables, and also the EV Ultra cables as well. When you've got big lengths to strip off of outer sheath, these are fantastic for doing that. So there's those. There is also these Knipex long nose pliers. Now these ones we purchased. I believe I'm getting that right. So we bought these. We had 2 sets. So I've already put a set off into a... Oh no, they're both up there actually. I'm lying. So these are 2 sets of these. You can see them there. There was also a set of pliers and side cutters that we got from TIS. For those of you who don't know, TIS are the distributors for Knipex now in the UK. I think that's right. So they send out all the Knipex products to people who are retailing these, and we kindly was able to purchase some from TIS to put in the giveaway care packages, whatever we're calling them, to apprentices. So yeah, these are really nice. As I showed you before, on these ones you can strip your inner cores. Don't know how that's coming across on camera because I'm not able to see the screen at the minute. Hopefully it's clear, but it strips out your 1.5, well, 0.7 to 1.5 mil conductors and your 2.5 mil conductors. There's also a crimping tool in there. Obviously they're insulated to 1000 volts. Shouldn't really ever be using them live, but it's always good to have that in your hand tools just as a last line of defence for if a mistake's been made. And obviously there's the cropping blade in there as well, so you can crop cables down too. So yeah, really useful tool. I use these a lot because we've got sets in all of our kits. You know, we must have probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 sets among us in the day job. And yeah, they come in handy, so that's one to watch out for. And again, we're popping that into some care packages. Now we did also get 2 of these. These are still both here. I'm going to open these up and we'll have a look through them in a minute when I've got you on the desk, so we can see a bit closer this being unboxed. Actually, it might be better to just unbox it now, I think, thinking about it. Let's just do it now. So this is the TIS 280. I'll show you up there. So it's an auto-ranging digital multimeter with capacitance, frequency and temperature measuring abilities, and it will do DC voltage 400 millivolts to 600 volts, same on the AC range, DC current from 400 picoamps, I think that's the sign for that. Again, I need my glasses on, so I do apologise. Up to 10 amps, same in the AC range, and resistance from 400 ohms to 40 megohms. Capacitance from 40 nanofarads to 4000 picofarads, and a frequency of 0 to 10 kilohertz. I'll show you it, it's easier, just read it, pause the video, read it if you want. It's a cracking little multimeter. We're going to get it out of the box and have a look at it now. So it's the TIS 280, we bought this one, so that it's not paid promotion, I don't think we could call it that when we're paying for it ourselves. And this is going to be given out to an apprentice in a care package as well. So in the box, you get a user manual. Always need those, whatever you think for operating them. And then it's in a nice bubble wrapped package, which is always good because the last thing you want is stuff turning up damaged out of the box. It comes with the meter itself, a nice robust outer case. So I mean, these things end up in test bags and can be dropped about and damaged and things. So it's nice there's the rugged case on there. It appears to use a 9-volt battery. So I don't know if it has that in. No, it doesn't appear to have that in, but there's a kickstand on the back there. 9-volt battery included in the package. There is also this multifunction socket. I'm not sure what that is, but you can see there it's got a few little positions on the back and some probes. So we'll have a look in the manual, see what that does. We have got what looks like a temperature probe in this packet here. So I'm not going to package it as much as possible because it is going to be given to an apprentice, and I would rather they had the privilege of setting it all up themselves and taking all the leads out. So it feels like it's new and not been used by me. And again, your little probes there, and these are good quality probes actually looking at them. So you've got your small pointy tips, nice solid lead set. It's really good. Let's have a little look in the instructions, see if we can see what that little adapter's for. Function socket, as it's called, is to help do some additional tests on transistors and things just from reading the manual, which makes perfect sense actually. Essentially you would insert this into the instrument and then take your readings off the transistors. It actually tells you in here, set the rotary switch to the HFE range, which is up there, and then insert the connect the COM plug and the plus plug of the special multifunction socket to the COM and HFE terminals and determine whether the transistor to be tested is NPN or PNP. So nice to be able to do that. It's all in the instruction manual. This is going back to electronics, and you know, there's when you're doing your control panel building and things like that, it could be a thing, or if you're working in alarm panels, boilers, and you're getting more involved in the electronics alongside the electrical systems. It does happen out in industry, and even if you're a heating engineer or whatever, this multimeter can really help you out with that. Like I say, I'm not going to take the protective screen off or put the battery in because I want to keep this as new for the person who's going to get it. But yeah, just to show you that on the scale here, you've got your voltage indications for DC, you've got your non-contact voltage detection, you've got your diode testing, you've got hertz, HFE, temperature, capacitance, and DC milliamp leakage, and AC, all on there. And you've got the fused leads that need to be put into the right terminals for the appropriate tests, which is why the manual is always worth consulting before you carry out work on electrical systems, and it is quite detailed in here, so nice to have that from TIS. And yeah, this is going to be out with an apprentice imminently, which is a really nice thing for them to get. I think trying to put a bit of different test equipment into apprentices' hands, because we've given out loads of the safe isolation kits, multifunction testers, voltage indicators, and volt pens, basic bits and pieces like that. But I thought this, certainly for the people who are entering third years, it'd be something really nice, and it's not something that they can always afford either, so putting that in one of the kits. We've got 2 of those actually, so we can provide a couple of apprentices with a nice little multimeter. And again, I'll package all that up in a second. I'll put it to one side. So that's the other one. Just to prove I'm not making it up. There's something in the box. And then we've got the TIS E237, which is a digital clamp meter to 600 amps AC with amp tip trademark jaws, which sounds interesting. So this is a fast 800 milliseconds peak RMS mode to capture inrush currents. So that's always useful, because they're some of the things that can really catch us out as electricians from time to time, the inrush. Very useful, I would imagine, for those of you who are in solar and PV as a clamp meter. So that's going to be useful. It is VFDV, Hertz, and VHZ on most variable frequency drives. It will fast measure updates every 5 seconds. It's all on the back again there, so you can see that it's 600 volts AC DC input protection on general functions. It'll maximum and minimum average record, and for those of you who've seen me using my other TIS gear, it's really good that it does that, because then you don't have to sit watching the screen. You can leave it doing its thing while you go off doing other bits and pieces. So that's cool. Yeah, all on the back there. Pause the video and have a little look if you wish. Let's get it out of the box and have a gander at this one. This one comes in a case, which is nice to see that straight away. So everything lives in this padded little pack, which is really cool. Again, if you're keeping it in a test bag and such, these are obviously more expensive than some of the hand tools and things we might leave floating around in there, so to give it a bit of extra protection with a nice case is always a good thing for me. Inside here, oh, straight in the top, there's a calibration certificate. So that's interesting, always good to see your instrument's been calibrated before you use it, and great that TIS have provided that in the box itself, in the pack. We've also got what looks like a temperature probe, lots and lots of lead sets. So we've got 3 different colours of leads there, which is nice. We've got the instrument itself, it's in this little packet, and some crocodile clipped probes. So they're interesting. We've got 3 of those too, so you can croc clip on and they look to be insulated all the way to the end. So that's a nice little feature, I like that. And this is the actual meter itself, the E237. Give you a close-up look at that. It's actually very lightweight, feels very strong and sturdy. And again, you've got the jaws we're all familiar with for those of you who've used clamp meters before. I appreciate some apprentices might not have done, but the idea is you attach that round a conductor and you can see what current's flowing within it. Now this has the feature of the little notch, if you see that in there. So if you're looking for a super duper accurate measurement, you can get your conductor as close to that as you possibly can and it will do that. And also just through the main hole there, it's not always possible to get tight in on the front if you just take in a measurement through a tail, for example, and it's a bit difficult to go disturbing them and messing them about because it's under live conditions. You need to be careful. You can still do that and it'll give you a very accurate reading all the same. This will also carry out the phase rotation measurements. This is what these 3 terminals are for, so you can do that as well. Just to show you in the manual on the page where it talks about that. So you can see in there, pretty useful. This is the kind of thing that somebody who's working in maintenance or industrial controls and things like that, they're going to have these in their tool bags. And it's great that they're able to do the phase rotation, that you can see what currents are flowing around where. You've got the option to measure capacitance and temperature. You know, these are all useful features for people who are maybe in instrumentations, for example. And more regular electricians are going to still need to use these tools. We use clamp meters every day and we're not out working on industrial controls and massive pumps and whatnot. That's the work of Mr. Fisher, so Jamie, but we do get involved in bits and pieces. It would be helpful in solar, for example, to see what currents you've got flowing around outside of the DC system, in your AC cabling, or if you're working in battery storage. You know, this is going to be the kind of thing that's going to help you see what's being outputted from inverters. You know, there is lots of uses with clamp meters, even down to when you're fault finding on a particular circuit and you've got overcurrent on a traditional installation. This is going to help you see exactly what's going on quite quickly and relatively simply. And again, there is an adapter from TIS that I should mention alongside this, where you can plug into a socket and then be able to get around the different conductors within that without accessing any live parts. So it's like a black rectangle. In fact, I'll try and find a link and pop it in the video as a picture up here so you can see that, and then you can clamp around that with this and get some really useful data. So yeah, that's the TIS E237. Again, we paid for this, so there's 2 of them. We've given one out to an apprentice already. That's already off and out on the way in the post to them last week, so hopefully that's going to be a nice little surprise in their care package. And again, I just thought it'd be really useful for people who've been you know, we've given out loads of hand tools, we've given out loads of other little bits and pieces. I thought this would be a nice little change for those who are on a learning journey with the funds that are a bit stretched, to put some decent, high quality test gear in their hands so they can progress their learning. That's the idea, and build up their own toolkits. And these 2 are going to be going off to people who are in the instrumentations sector as a nice little bonus for them. And that's one of the cool things that Apprentice 1-to-1's been able to do, and I'm really grateful for that. Now these are the TIS 8550 safe isolation kits. These were provided by TIS. They sent 4 of them, totally free to us, to give out to apprentices. I've packed 2 up that have gone to a training provider. So that's a college down in Norfolk, and they have now got 2 safe isolation kits for all their students and learners to use. So again, trying to get maximum benefit from these things when we're talking about safe systems of work and getting that into apprentices' minds. I thought that was a nice thing to do. This one is going to an apprentice themselves, and again, they're just about to go into doing their 3rd year, so they should be starting to do some work more independently, but still under supervision, and having access to stuff like this, which they will have through their employer, but also their own kit to figure out how it works on their own and in their own time. I think is quite useful, and they have promised when they have finished it, they're going to pass it on to another apprentice. They're not going to hold it on in their working life, which is really nice. I think it's one of those where, you know, you could keep it and then use it through the rest of your working life and have it as your own kit. But they're saying they would rather pass it on to other learners who are coming through after them, and I think that's a nice thing to do. So we've got that one as well. And this one is going to another training provider in my local area. I'm going to go off and visit them and drop that in for their learners to use as well. So again, trying to get that around as many students as possible to have a play around with safe isolation kits. A lot of these colleges would love to have the opportunity to buy all this stuff themselves, but they're that stretched paying for the bare essentials at the minute, like heating and lighting and staff salaries. You know, it's really difficult to find the extra in budgets to update some of their safe isolation gear and hand tools, even materials for them to use in the lessons. So me being able to help out just a little bit, it's a tiny little offer of generosity towards them. I thought it was a nice thing to do alongside TIS, so I'm going to be dropping that in hopefully tomorrow, I think. And again, in there, I should actually say what's in it. It's all on the front cover, take you in a bit closer. So you've got the voltage indicators, the all-important proving unit, a selection of different locks for your overcurrent protective devices, and some hasps and labels. So it's all in there, everything you need to carry out a safe isolation as a start-out kit. And these are really good value actually from TIS as well. So if you're in the market for one of these for your own kit, we should all have access to one for our employers. But if you're self-employed and you need to get yourself sorted out, can't go wrong with these in terms of value. I think they're pretty much unbeatable, to be fair. And I'm not just saying that because it's been provided for nothing. You know, of course, doing Apprentice 1-to-1, we've been looking at buying these bits and pieces ourselves. And honestly, I don't think you can beat them when it includes the proving unit as well. But I may not be fully factually correct on that, so fact check me and go off and have a look yourself. You may get better value somewhere else, I'm not sure. So yeah, that's that. It's not just TIS that have sent stuff in as well. There is Martindale, and I've just realised I've set my camera up on top of the box from Martindale, so I'm going to have to sort that out. Sorry, get my words out. I'm going to have to sort that out and then jump back onto the video, and we'll show you what they sent in as well. Okay, so I've sorted that little problem out and I had access to the box. They've sent 100 of these in, so that was really generous of them. These are the BZ101s, and they are the socket testers. So I'll drop it on the box and have a little look. So these Buzz-It socket testers. And again, that's going to be a really nice thing to pop into an apprentice's tool bag and get out to some of the training providers as things that they can use to help demonstrate testing. So we can pop those off to some training providers as well, as we've got 100 of them. It's going to save me posting out to 100 different individuals if we could maybe provide batches of 5 to a few colleges and training providers. So if you want some of these, do please get in touch, because I will try and sort you out with a few. And yeah, we're going to pop these on a few giveaways as well. I think I need to figure out exactly what we're going to do with that, but I have popped a few of these into some of the apprentice care packages that we had scheduled to go out this week as well. So if you are waiting on a drop, then you're going to get yourselves one of those as well. So that was really nice. I think I mentioned already on Instagram, I don't know if I mentioned it on YouTube, but we did have some stuff sent in from a few other people as well. So we had the Electrical Industries Charity who sent us in some pens, which is always useful. So they sent in hundreds of these, so we can pass those out to learners and training providers. Again, everybody needs the basics like the pens and loads of these leaflets. So the Electrical Industries Charity, for those of you who aren't aware, you'll see that's where you can access assistance and support. So it talks about if your mum's sick or you can't afford to pay your rent, if you need to provide care for a family member, or you're struggling yourself getting around your house, or with your mental health, they are there to help you. And they've got this nice practical little leaflet that sets it all out in there. So I've been popping those into some of the care packages and off to the training providers to try and get that message out into industry beyond my social media activities, because obviously, you know, I can only reach so many people. And again, Proteus, you can see I've sent in these lock-off kits. So they sent in, I think there was 30 of these. So you've got a padlock and a detailed little manual in there for the 10-step procedure for your safe isolation. Darren Staniforth from CEF sent these tech cards in. These are fantastic actually. So these have got your arc fault detection little sheet, and they're really hardware and it's not flimsy bits of paper. These are the tech cards that they give out at some of their events. So there's the RCD testing types, how you go about doing that and what the different logos and things mean on the front of them. So a nice reference guide, as you can see there. It's got a little information sheet on surge protection. It's really nice, explains why and how we need that. electric vehicle charging installs, so some of the key things we need to be looking at on those, and for those of you who watch my channel, you'll know we've covered that quite a lot, but to have that on a little card that you can keep in your van, it's fantastic. IP codes, for those of you in learning, you're going to need to know this. It's often coming up in some of your exams and bits and pieces, and it's good to know anyway. So it goes through those, tells you what all the different numbers and letters actually mean. So that's a great little info sheet, and then you have got your electrical installation condition report codes. So again, a little reference sheet onto those. Got some examples of different codes that you might apply to certain situations. So those tech cards are really nice. There's a little keyring on there as well from the IET. I think these were what they used when they were in conjunction with the IET at different events earlier on in the year, or perhaps last year. And they've had a few that they've sent in to us. I think there's probably 50. So that's really nice. I've been popping those in as well. We also had from Proteus some of the Henley blocks, so in different colours. There was white, green, blue and brown. They've all been given out now. We had 10 of each, so they've gone off to apprentices already. In fact, there is a set in this box that's waiting to go out, I think. So I could maybe show you one. No, it must be another box. Yeah, must be in another box. I have got a couple of little packs behind me there waiting to drop into a training provider and an apprentice. So yeah, I thought they were in there, but they're not. So yeah, that was those ones. What else have we had? I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. Oh yeah, there was also the Napit book selection that you'll have seen me giving away earlier on in this year. They sent in loads of the different books for us to pass out to apprentices, and I've since bought some more of those as well as part of the Apprentice 1-to-1 donations to pass out to some apprentices and training providers. So we've had some of those going out. You can actually see there on top of the boxes here. So we've got some of the private landlord ones and the ICR code breakers. That's for a training provider who has an AM2 centre. And again, I thought, you know, as part of the practicing for your AM2 days that they run, I know some people don't like those, but it's what goes on out in industry, to have a book like that they can maybe reference to and try and make a point to someone who's struggling on a specific issue of their testing process. Maybe it might be useful. And also just to bring awareness of the kind of resources that are available to learners if you do want these books. They are quite low cost in the grand scheme of things. You know, when we're talking about 80 to 100 quid for your eggs books, these books are generally around 20 quid. And actually, speaking of books, there is a really good one here that I should mention. We get these and pass them out when we can to apprentices. This is the Student's Guide to the Wiring Regs from the IET. I think this one's actually under 20 quid at the minute if you go on the IET's bookstore to buy it. And if you remember the IET, you get a discount on all that. But this has some fantastic resources in that is an amazing help to anyone who's on a retraining route or an apprenticeship. Lots of the key info you're going to need to know about the regs in your exams that you do, and also your practical assessments is in this book. So it's a really good one to get your hands on. And like I say, relatively low cost, around 20 quid. And we do occasionally pop these up as giveaways on the Apprentice 1-to-1 Instagram channel, so keep your eyes on that. If you're not watching it already, then yeah, that was kind of it. This video was to just really say some thanks to the people who have provided this equipment to us, so to Martindale, to Proteus, to TIS, to the Electrical Industries Charity. Voltimum also offered some help in terms of raising awareness of Apprentice 1-to-1, so they popped us into their literature that they share with their partners, and you know, there's quite a lot of brands involved with that, so hopefully we can get some more support from some of those people as well off the back of that. So thanks to Voltimum. There is individuals as well who really helped. Darren Staniforth sent in a Fluke digital multimeter that I can't show you because it's already been given out to an apprentice over in Wales. We've had a donation from a couple of other individuals. Stephen Wilton I've shared already because he's given me the okay to give his name. There's other people too who want to remain anonymous, which is totally fine. We're going to be able to show you inside what we're putting up for Apprentice 1-to-1's Academy in terms of some of the stuff we're going to be creating ourselves now to aid training, and I've spoken about that lots already, but I'm going to go into far more detail in the coming weeks of exactly what we're going to do. But just to stick to that core principle that it is going to be totally free for people to access, that's training providers and learners, and it is not going to be in competition with existing training providers. We're not looking to take away from your funding or take students away from your colleges in any way whatsoever. We want to give additional support to try and help you do the best job you can on the very difficult and limited resources that are available to you. And hopefully, speaking of that, you know, those bands of funding are going to be increasing soon as the apprenticeship's currently under review. So hopefully there's going to be some changes there that might ease the pressure, because we've all felt in the real world the cost of living crisis and the extra costs we're paying in our personal lives and operating our businesses. But it must be really difficult for colleges, which have generally massive buildings, great big spaces to heat and light, especially through winter now. And the cost burden that they're having to cover is way beyond anything that they would have expected when they were, setting out budgets at the start of the training year and such. So it must be very, very difficult. And if you are able to help your local colleges, please do get materials down to them. Lots of them are desperate for it, even if it's offcuts of cable or a drummer cable every now and then. If you're on a rewire and you get an extra drum, to be able to drop that into your college would be really helpful. Even boxes of clips and stuff. Please do get in touch with them and do that, because there's a much needed demand for a bit of extra support from industry from those who can give it. I realise, it's difficult for everyone. There's no one out there milking it at the minute. I don't think. We're all kind of trying to cut our cloth and manage our budgets based on the wider economic problems. So yeah, if you are able to help your colleges, please do consider it. We did also win an award. So the Electrical Industries Awards for 2022. So this is run by the Electrical Times magazine, and we won the Training Professional Development Resource of the Year award. So that's Apprentice 1-to-1, not me as an individual, it's the community of people. The last winners of that were Learning Lounge, which is the legends Dave Austin and Gary Gundry and the team around them, and the acceptance speech they gave last year. I remember watching it, where they gave great credit to Tony Cable. So to follow on from them is a huge honour. This is a big deal for us. I'm really, really proud of winning that award. So a massive thanks to everyone who has helped, and to the judges, other people who were involved in the nominations, and also the other candidates who were in our category and all the other categories as well. I think we beat off Napit and ICO, which, when you look at the training and resources they put out into industry, is pretty staggering, really. Very humbled, and hopefully we can do it justice over the next year in what we've got planned in terms of our support to training. It's not all about awards, it is about actually helping people, but when things like that happen, it is really nice, and it does kind of bring a bit of meaning to what you've done, I suppose. I don't know if that's the right words, but yeah, really enjoyed being in receipt of that. And thank you again to the judges and the people at Electrical Times who, gave us the award. Thank you very much. That's kind of where we are with that. If you do have any questions on any of this gear, you want some further details, I'll leave links to the products in the description of the video. And again, TIS have their own YouTube channel, as do I think all of the other manufacturers who I've mentioned, and if they do, they'll be in the description of the video as well. Please go off and check them out. You can get more details and more product reviews from those places. And like I say, I will get some more detailed videos of these in use out on site, but I just wanted to put this out there as a bit of a disclaimer, so you know that some of it has been donated, some of it's been bought. I don't know how all that sits in terms of paid sponsorship and the rest of it. I need to probably read up on that before I go any further with what we're going to be up to in the next few months. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, drop them in below, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.